Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty cool stuff coming over here when it comes to brand new PlayStation 5 updates as well. We also have a lot of other various updates too, just throughout the nice little gaming community. We have some nice new open betas coming out. We had some accidental leaks that came out too, in terms of collector's editions. We had a lot of little various things. Let's go and talk about it. But mainly, the first, I think, biggest thing to go and talk about over here is the fact that we're looking mainly at the big accessibility options over here in the first place when it comes to controllers, when it comes to brand new features, brand new hardware, and everything else in between. So let's go and talk about that, what's going to be changed and everything else in between. As well as make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch link down below in case you guys want to follow. We have also the Amazon links too, as well for all the usual consoles. And give me your thoughts and comments all down below. So as you guys do or do not know, as of per recently, there's been a lot of really big pushes and changes when it comes to accessibility, more just allowing more folks to go play games, and well, it's kind of one of the coolest things out there we've had a chance to see. We've been seeing a lot more updates when it comes to PlayStations, we've been seeing a lot more updates when it comes to Xboxes, and as well, just makes it so more people can play games, which I think overall is really cool. Now, we had a chance for this to get leaked and also talked about not too long ago, but this is kind of like, I think, the bigger gaming news of the day, where right now, you're now seeing information and news when it comes to the new images and UI now of the Access controller for the PlayStation 5 and the all-new accessory or accessibility controller kit. So as you guys do or do not know, when it comes to this stuff, well, sadly, not everyone can go play games to the same standard as we expect. So throughout the years, we've had custom mouses or keyboards or even controllers that companies specifically make to go and help out folks that may or may not have a disability. Now, that does happen, and it's understandable, and I feel like it's more one of those things if, hopefully, a lot of you guys watching my channel are able-bodied and can be able to do what you want to do, but at the same time, you never know what's going to happen in the future. Or as well, if you guys are like, who kind of cares about this type of news, think about when we're like all old boomers, we're like 80, 90 years old in like the retirement home. Well, ideally, and probably my own case, probably, I'd still probably be playing some games, hanging out and chilling, and if there's ever any issues over time, or family, or friends, or even just online friends, whatever it might be, you want to have as many options as possible to make it accessible so people can play games. Whether it's like something as small as like just being colorblind, or as well sometimes, people just either, lose function of their hands, or just have limited mobility, or even lose a hand itself, which usually is kind of a sad situation, but when it comes to life, some people are gamers no matter what. So this is where kind of PlayStation's coming on in right now, where they have the brand new PlayStation 5 Access controller for the PlayStation 5 console. So as you guys can kind of go into see too as well, it's a lot more of a minimalistic type console, and it's essentially a I don't know how to kind of explain it. It's just more of like a button with also smaller remote buttons to basically go make everything work in between. So we see this, and it looks cool, it looks dope, I love it. And as well, this almost kind of feels like, I'm trying to like imagine how I would use it myself in my own hands. You'd essentially maybe just either use like, maybe like put it like down here, like say this is imagine like the joystick, and you'd be able to go and use this all even with one hand, which I think actually kind of feel froze and looks, well, very good, I think at the end of the day. So if you guys have ever actually had a friend or yourself or need to use this, let me know in the comment section down below as we go through it. So the official name right now for the Project Leonardo has now been revealed alongside the new product details. So while accessibility is an important topic year-round, May is always special as we celebrate Global Accessibility Awareness Day and recognize the strides made by the accessibility community and the games industry to make gaming more inclusive. At Sony Interactive Entertainment, we are committed to furthering that mission, so today we're excited to share new details and images of the Access controller for the PlayStation 5 console. So you guys can maybe kind of see even another good example over here, where you can see like the X, triangle, square, start menus and all of this, where it just basically makes it a lot easier for someone to go and do it. As well as also, I'm going to guess, you probably maybe go and remap it too as well. It just seems like a lot more simplistic, which in all honesty, someone might even go do this with like their mouth, or as well even like an elbow, stuff like that, so people can still play games. Especially with nowadays too, where some games are more on pure story mode or very, very laid back mode, which is also very nice to see. So first reveal at CS this year as Project Leonardo. The Access controller for PlayStation 5 is an all-new, highly customizable accessibility controller kit designed to help many players with disabilities play games more easily, more comfortably, and for longer periods. Developed in collaboration with accessibility experts, in the Access controller will include a wide array of swappable buttons and stick caps so players can freely create different layouts that work for their unique strength, range, and motion, and physical needs. Each Access controller will include analog stick caps, which are like the standard dome and ball stick cap. The button caps in different shapes and sizes, including pillow button caps, flat button caps, wide flat button caps, as well overhang button caps, curved button caps, and swappable button caps for players to easily mark which inputs they map to each button. In addition, players can use the Axis controller on flat surfaces, orient it 360 degrees, or easily secure a controller to amps, mounts, or tripods. But also adjust the distance of the analog sticks from the controller too as well. So this is really cool. So I'm trying to give a good example too as well, where let's go and say maybe you play a game that's very, very focused on maybe, let's say, the triangle key. So maybe for that one, it might be able to go and move the actual handle itself to make it so you're basically maybe moving, and then maybe you're button mashing too as well a lot with the triangle, or maybe say the square, or maybe the X buttons too as well. That kind of seems like that's the vibe, or as well maybe just for easy access, so maybe you have to go do a mixture of both, and do this, and do both of this, and then do this, and this, and this, etc., etc. As you guys can kind of see all the big differences between the two. Now, as well, I think one of the cooler things out here is the mountability. So let's go and say once again, you maybe have more of a, like, let's say for, I always want to say like I don't know how to word it the best, so never mind me. But let's say you're perpetually kind of stuck, like something like a motion like this. So in theory, it might be better for you to maybe go and want to mount something too as well with your hand or whatever you're doing with your body to make it easier for you to go and actually access the controller itself. So as we see this stuff, it's really dope. Like, I like the idea that the inclusiveness is thrown in over here, because I've always had the mindset, doesn't matter if like you're disabled or not, you should be able to go play games if you want to. Or as well, the same example I kind of mentioned, maybe in the future things may go and change for yourself. So you just always want to make sure everything's all good. So just the fact that they have so many different changes and accessibilities and everything else throughout this is very, very cool. So through the Axis controller's 4 3.5mm aux ports, players can integrate their own specialty switches, buttons, or analog sticks too as well, as you can see from this one. So you can read more about the Axis controller features in the original blog post, and you can also visit the web pages too as well if you guys want to go creep on all the stuff, try to get your pre-orders, or everything else in between. So very, very cool. Like, I think it's actually very nifty. It's completely different, of course, when it comes to a normal traditional controller, but like I said, unfortunately, some people can't even go and hold the controller in the proper manner, and that's totally fine. That's why they have these different types of side options, and I really like this a lot because it gives people a chance. Like, it gives people a chance to check out games, play games, and everything else, and I just think it's all around really, really cool. So they also have different things for the UI as well. So beyond the wide range of hardware customization options, the Axis controller features a myriad of ways for players to create personalized UI settings too as well. So they also wanted to go and include button mapping and control profiles. So once again, that kind of goes into like, hey, like maybe there's a specific game, say God of War, we may use certain keys a lot more than, let's say, a game like a Call of Duty, where you may not even necessarily use some or in the first place. Or as well, maybe for your own ease, maybe you just kind of avoid, like, say, grenades, because just, you know, maybe you just don't have the range and options. So you just want to make things a little bit more simplistic. So it kind of makes things nicer because it lets you customize every single game a lot more. So I think it's cool. So a good example is they can even have different control profiles for, say, like you're playing a driving game, like Gran Turismo 7, or like a Forza. Yeah, I'm not sure if you really can play Forza, but, you know, just in theory, like a type of racing game. Or as well, like I said, maybe God of War example, where it's going to have different layouts and different control schemes and everything else in between, and that's just one of the things you want to look for just overall. And as well, you get to see the different types of profiles and the changes in the movements and the button assignments and everything else, which I do think that Sony did a really, really good job on assigning this and working towards it just for folks. As you guys can kind of see, it has buttons for basic controls, action buttons, you could assign buttons and everything else in between, and also has the button assignment preview to basically have a double check so you can look at it in person to go and test out and see if it kind of works out too as well. You could also go do DualSense pairing 2 on top of this, which is very, very nice to go and see, and just in general, like, it's very nice to go and fine tune the sensitivity, the features, and everything else in between with toggle modes and everything else. And I do want to say the accessibility options on PlayStation are very, very nice to go and see, and I'm very thankful that Sony even added this in the first place. So give me your thoughts and comments down below. Now, some other little side news too on top of this one. We've had some intriguing things where we even lost Ralph Grossetti on top of this for this last day working over here for God of War Ragnarok, which a lot of folks have been giving their big condolences, and also very sad that they actually had a chance to go and leave. Also been seeing some really big numbers when it comes to the Xbox, Sony, Nintendo, and Star Wars 2 as well, all floating around. Over 10.4 million PC and console games were sold at least across through Europe too as well. Although it was a little bit of a drop, we've kind of seen some big numbers. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is still one of the top sellers, with FIFA right behind him, Dead Island 2, Grand Theft Auto right behind him too as well, and a lot of these other bigger game companies are a little bit more on the scarier side. We also have seen and heard news that Ghost of Tsushima has hit over 1 million sales over here in Japan, and on top of that too, Amazon Italy accidentally revealed the Combat Pack over here roster, funny enough, from Mortal Kombat, and as well, we We also saw some big collector's editions too that were being sold out all throughout today when it comes to a lot of PlayStation and individual consoles. So in case you guys are curious on that one. But basically the pack itself too, which I'm getting a little bit hyped up for Mortal Kombat, but in the same kind of fighting style thing, we also have the Street Fighter 6 open beta, once again is now out too as well if you guys do want to go and check out the good old demo and see if you guys like the game. So give me your thoughts and comments all down below because I would love to get to hear it, see it, and just everything about it. Let me know if you guys would even pick up or want to go pick up an accessibility controller. Make sure you guys are subscribed, notifications on Twitter and Twitch room down below, and all the Amazon links too as well. And I appreciate you guys all so much for watching in the first place.